Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hi, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today, we are discussing Farscape Season 1, Episode 10. They've got a secret. A cascade of problems end up revealing surprising information about Dargo and Moya. This was a bit more of a sort of subdued bottle episode. How did you feel about this one?
I thought it was pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Not amazing, but pretty good, yeah.
So a little bit bad. What's pretty good plus a little bit not so good? Does that count for the whole thing?
Sure.
That's not bad. I like this one quite a lot. I think I liked it more having seen the show a number of times.
Why does it stick out more now?
It's quite character driven. A lot of this show is action, which is cool because that's fun and exciting. But especially season 1, there's not too much character driven stuff. This one had a lot of bits with Dargo that were quite sort of tense and awkward.
Well, I like this episode, but I have one gripe with it, and maybe that falls on me and they explained this and I missed it. I didn't understand why Dargo's memories were jumbled, why that happened.
Because he was in space for half an hour?
That's just what happens? You get your memories mixed up?
At least.
Okay.
That he was almost frozen solid.
Yeah.
Deprived of oxygen. His brain was in a messed up state. I don't know. Maybe that's what happens to Luxons. It could be unique to their species. After all, their physiology seems very different.
Although John assumed it's similar and started pounding on his chest.
I love the cry of, hasn't he suffered enough? As if John's just beating him and that's accepted.
It's really funny they don't question, what are you doing? They assume, oh, he doesn't like Dargo. He wants to beat him up.
This links back to not the previous episode. This links back to the episode, that old black magic, where Aaron checked John's breath but not his pulse. Here we see that Zan checks Dargo's pulses on his back. And I assume she meant multiple heartbeats, not a hidden supply of grain.
I don't know. It could be that.
Thanks for being supportive of my horrible pun. That means a lot.
Haven't our readers suffered enough?
No. The elephant in this episode is that they keep going on about this virus, which isn't actually a virus. That's kind of nice that they tailed on a lead that wasn't actually the right answer.
I love that they stuck with that idea for so long and they were convinced it was right, and then nope.
That doesn't happen that often in TV shows. Usually it's just one guy saying, oh, it's definitely this, and then in the end, yeah, it turns out it was. No, they were just all wrong.
Or they'll have that idea and then they'll find out it's wrong really early.
Yeah, or they'll find out it was almost right at the end. It was like
a little twist.
So it wasn't a virus, it was sperm, really, wasn't it? There's a whole lot of sperm. Kind of biomechanoid. I mean, I say that, I don't know if that's how Leviathan impregnation works, but that's the feeling I got.
Isn't that what we're supposed to think? He kicked that thing open, liquid dispersed.
There was an explosion of genetic material. Well, I suppose you are supposed to think it. They never said it. I guess they didn't want to be too specific. Dargo has previously said that no one knows his true crime. Well, now we know, or at least we have a good idea of what it may be.
I have a pretty good guess.
Well, if what he says is accurate, then he's innocent.
But he wouldn't be able to prove his innocence or something.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the peacekeeper judicial system is like, but I wouldn't put a great deal of faith in it. He said Macton still had her blood on his hands, so I don't think it's justice exactly. It doesn't sound like it was well investigated.
Probably not. He's as good as guilty.
Then again, this is all just Dargo's fever dream interpretation of it, so maybe it's inaccurate.
Oh, maybe he desperately wants to be innocent, and this is the narrative he tells himself to justify his horrible murder.
It could be. But I would probably believe that Macton is guilty and Dargo is innocent, because that sounds like peacekeepers. They're always up to no good. And Dargo has a son.
Am I supposed to laugh when he's on screen? Because I did.
I was going to bring this up. He is quite a child.
He's hilariously bearded.
Yeah, giant head.
Massive noggin.
Best hope he's an academic, because he's not going to be a model. That's pretty harsh. I don't want to judge other people's children, because every child is beautiful to the parents. But then you have to think, is this child beautiful to these parents? 'Cause
That's what drove Dargo to murder. He saw his son.
oh, come on. Every sci-fi show has an ugly alien child. It's like
Yeah,
a
why is
staple of
that?
sci-fi. Because the makeup doesn't work well on children. They usually give them like a whole head thing. So they have giant swollen faces, and child actors are kind of just generally hateable.
That's true.
And then they put them in these sort of unappealing alien suits and make them extra cute, and yep, you end up with Jothy.
I didn't hate Jothy, I just wanted to laugh at him.
That's up there. That's close.
Yeah, maybe if he had a speaking role, I would be saying otherwise.
Yeah. The whole Sebastian wife thing is part of Dargo that's quite unexpected.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense of what we know about peacekeepers.
Not all Sebastians are peacekeepers.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
It fits with Dargo, though. He really hates peacekeepers. I felt quite bad for the crew, because they were finding a lot of this stuff out, and it seemed like they didn't really want to pry.
It was an interesting way to tell this information because Dargo is in a state where they're trying to help him and they can't really. And he's also a danger to them. And so it's not just him, I don't know, drunk and spouting off stuff. Oh,
It's not his
whoops.
fault.
Yeah,
They're kind of encroaching on stuff that he would not be volunteering if he was in the right state of mind.
right.
And not just a little bit, like really personal secrets. Aaron was taking Pilot's role in this episode, as Pilot was slowly dying.
That was awkward to see Pilot in the background of all those shots, not moving and sort of dead.
Was it awkward?
For me, I don't do well when people talk in front of dead people.
He's not dead, he was just dying. He was just
Okay.
almost dead. You would prefer if they gave him a proper burial. Well, I mean, Or like put a sheet up, or what? What are you expecting?
I don't know. I guess they did what you should do.
There were practical problems that had to be solved, really.
Yeah, you shouldn't worry about the optics of if someone is watching you in a television show and there's an almost dead person behind you.
In the heat of the moment, what matters is not dying or fixing the situation. So shame on you for criticizing Erin's hard work simply because she didn't live up to your unbelievable standards.
I didn't say it was her fault.
Okay.
It was Pilot's fault. He should have almost died in a more
This is
convenient
victim blaming.
spot.
It's victim blaming. A more convenient spot. He can't move. He's part of the ship.
He should have realized, oh, I'm kind of dying right now, and then moved over a bit, make some room for
Put a sheet
Aaron.
over himself.
Yes. Close his own eyes.
Did he have his eyes open? Like, half open or something?
His mouth was half open. I think. I couldn't really tell. I was really staring at him.
I hardly even noticed this.
It actually wasn't awkward, but it was funny to me because things went on as they needed to. But they should. Why would they? I mean, she wouldn't turn around. Hey, by the way, Pilot is still kind of dead.
He was fine in the end, so it's fine.
Yes, it's fine.
Aaron and Pilot have a kind of bond going on.
She can push giant buttons now with all of the care that Pilot does.
She said there was thousands of controls.
Yeah, but every time we got a shot of her manipulating any of the controls, it was always a giant button.
It's like a dinner plate.
Yeah, that she would press down. Maybe there are 100 little buttons on there, and then that counted as pressing 100 buttons.
But they're all on the same bit.
It's still pressing 100 buttons. It's just a shortcut. Workflow optimization.
It could have been some sort of input sequence. E.g., a keyboard only has 100 and change keys, but obviously you can input millions of different commands with them.
Ooh, they could also be pressure sensitive.
Yeah, like analog controls or something. But yeah, the problem with this idea is she does state that some of them do certain things. Illumination was one. It's just one giant button is lights on and off. But it might not be. Maybe it's got some complicated pressure pattern. Because I don't think it would be good to have one button that turns all the lights on the ship on or off.
Unless you have a need for that constantly.
I guess.
For example,
nighttime, daytime. Moya is prego.
I'm really curious where this goes. They have to nurture this baby Moya or baby Leviathan and how that works and where it leads to. It's a really weird, interesting plot point.
It's jumping in the deep end with having a living ship. Reproduction being usually quite a mess, really.
Right.
It's never a straightforward process unless you're a fish or something rubbish. But for something like a Leviathan, I could imagine it's really a big mess. So she's going to have morning sickness, cravings for random foods.
Irritability.
I don't think that's specifically a symptom of pregnancy, other than just being like having a 10-pound tumor in your stomach area will make you annoyed all the time.
Swollen ankles.
Does Maya have ankles?
I don't know.
Back? I don't know.
I'm not going to make assumptions.
Can she still starburst? That's what sprung to mind for me.
Oh, yeah. I really like that they did this because I didn't even think about it. They have been saying the ship is a living ship the whole time, but then I never considered how does it reproduce? How does that even work? And then I also like that it's in this episode because, as we were saying, it was cool that they were on the wrong track, and then with thinking it was a virus, and then they thought the ship was attacking them and was trying to kill them, and it wasn't so much as targeting them as it was trying to protect the baby, and that's so interesting.
It's super hard to guess. I'd be very surprised if you guessed before the end what was going on. We don't even know what the gestation period is.
15 Argoners.
Maybe could be as many as 20.
No, that's too long.
Is that too many Argoners?
Yep.
Pilot
Nothing
didn't
is.
know.
Well, we already know that Pilot isn't as competent as he pretends to be.
Aaron knows. No one else knows that he's a noob.
Shouldn't there be protocol when a Leviathan gets pregnant, or how that can happen? It did seem weird that they didn't know.
The universe is full of strange alien life forms that are all very different and varied.
Sure,
So,
but shouldn't Pilot know when
yeah, there
that
really should be
that's
an instruction manual lying around. That's the sort of thing that someone could take the time to write down and photocopy. Like, we have that as humans. If you become pregnant or someone you know is pregnant, you can go to a doctor or a library or anywhere. In most of the world, this information is available. So it's odd they are that clueless, but then again, Pilot is a noob.
this is all true. They did set up for this to make sense.
I think they're just leaving their options open. If they say, oh, the gestation is 3 episodes, then they have to do an episode 3 episodes from now that involves birth, I guess. And you don't want to commit to that in a TV show. Having to have a spaceship give birth to a spaceship in a certain specific point. Maybe it'll be a baby boy spaceship. Maybe it'll be a baby girl spaceship. Maybe that doesn't apply in this case. What are you hoping for?
I'm hoping for a girl ship
Okay.
because
Honestly, I don't know what the point of this question is because it makes very little sense. Like, is Moya female? How did she get pregnant when they kicked the thing?
because it's an emergency prego kit.
What, they just put some sperm in a canister
Yeah.
and then someone has to go down there and kick it.
Yes.
They get most of it in their face.
And then slide down a long shaft.
I kind of don't want to know.
I did wonder about that though. Why was that there? And what was the application?
It's such a toss-up because we don't know enough about Leviathan biology or biomechanology. So who knows if this was some goofy peacekeeper prank or just... I mean, what it seems like is a preventative measure. Like, Leviathans, maybe they can just become pregnant. Like, they...
Self-impregnate?
Yeah, well, like, some sea creatures do that. They asexually reproduce in absence of other creatures. You can't really say, so it seems like it was just like a contraceptive barrier of some kind. Which would make sense if it was in a peacekeeper armada, you wouldn't want it suddenly falling pregnant.
Yeah, it causes all sorts of complications that you wouldn't want during a battle or something, or any time.
During active military duty, yeah. Do you have a quote you'd like to share with us from this episode?
Well, you guys don't have chocolate.
It's true, chocolate is pretty good.
I liked that conversation a lot. How Earth sounds awful to them, and they can't imagine why anyone would want to return to it. But that's his home, and he wants to go back to death and disease and chocolate.
It's exactly the sort of point they would never make on Star Trek. Chocolate is really good, though. It makes sense. It is really good.
Would you abandon your new space buddies for chocolate?
I would still want chocolate. I don't know if I'd abandon them. I don't know even if John could abandon them. If he gets back to Earth at this point, things are going to be very complicated. But chocolate is still very good. He's been in space for, was it 10 episodes? So a few months now.
Few Argners.
Yeah, no chocolate, no French fries, no bread.
Oh, no bread.
In fact, nothing. No food from Earth at all. No television, no books, no popular culture.
How does he fill the time?
Well, space is pretty cool.
Sure, but you need to sit down and read or watch something.
There's a whole new vast culture out there. He's not probably starved for information, but in terms of everything he grew up with, yeah, he doesn't have it. He doesn't have chocolate as well.
We haven't seen him interact with any sort of space encyclopedia or anything. So even though he's in the middle of all of this new stuff, he doesn't have a readily available way, as far as we've seen, to really learn about it.
Just ask people.
Yeah, I'm sure Dargo is very receptive to boring questions.
I bet he would go on and on if you asked him about Luxon history.
That's true.
Shall we move on to the next episode? Answer yes. Oh, what's the next episode called? It's called Till the Blood Runs Clear.
Oh, that's a Luxon thing.
Yep.
Aha, I remember things.
So Dargo's gonna get chopped up and then beaten up, I guess.
Yep, John will beat him up. He's a pro at it.
He's suffered enough. Let's go on to the next episode. I know I did this whole section without any real input from you, but it's kind of the same every time.
That's okay.
Let's do it.